Hey there, it's Dave at NoRecipeRequired, and tonight I'm going to show you a Spaghetti Pomodoro. Now, this is one of the simpler versions of the traditional tomato and spaghetti dishes that that come from Italy originally, but have probably been Americanized. I'm sure I've Americanized it quite a bit. The sauce is really easy to make. We'll show you how to do that. Then cook up some spaghetti, toss it all together for a for a perfect meal. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's get started on our sauce pomodoro. Now, this is a tomato sauce, a pretty basic tomato sauce that doesn't take all that long to make. It's not one of those ones that you got to start in the morning and let go for 8 hours. We can do it in about 45 minutes or so. I start off with a nice diced onion, kind of a large yellow onion, and 3 or 4 cloves of garlic, all tossed in a good kind of medium heat pan with some olive oil, a good amount of olive oil. Olive oil is like an ingredient in this sauce. It's not really just a lubricant for the pan. That was a little bit of salt. As I bumped the camera, grabbing my wooden spoon. We're going to toss these onions and continue to cook until they become just translucent. You don't need to get in there and go crazy with it. Just get them nice and soft. That'll extract some of the flavors, and while that's happening, we can prepare our tomatoes. Okay, for our tomatoes, for our pomodoro sauce, I like to use these whole plum tomatoes. Like San Marzano are frankly the best, considered the best out there. I don't know that it's going to be a crime if you don't end up using them, but even if you use diced or something like that. But I like using these. I like the texture they give, and what I do is just pour them out into a bowl like this and give them a little crush with your hand. Just be careful if you squeeze them like I don't know, like you're trying to kill it. They're like with a squirt kind of all over the place. So you just get in there, give it a little squeeze, mash it up a little bit. I'm going to use 2 cans, and that's going to give me sauce for probably 8 or 9 people. 2 cans is, call it about 3.5 pounds. Okay, so the onions have become translucent. I'm not really looking for any browning. That's going to change the kind of the flavor profile of the sauce. I just want the flavors there, not really the dark, deep flavors of caramelized or browned onions. Same thing with the tomato sauce. So these are my crushed tomatoes. Like I said before, it's not a sauce that is super long cooking, deep, dark in flavor. It's kind of light, fresh, high acid. So I'm going to add those tomatoes in. I'm going to give them just a quick stir. My tomato came with a little bit of basil leaf in there, which is fine, no problem at all. But we are going to add some fresh basil, which I just pulled off, and I don't even care about chopping it very finely. I'm going to throw the stems and all in there and just let them kind of wilt, give their flavor up. We'll probably pull any of those big thick pieces of stem, we'll just pull them out at the end. I'm going to let this come up to a simmer, cover it, and just let it go for about 30 minutes after it starts simmering. Okay, so I let my pomodoro sauce saute or simmer for about 30 minutes. I want to give it a quick little taste, which I already did secretly. And it's pretty good. I think you can use a touch of salt as well as a little bit of black pepper. Now I think it's I don't know, it's a controversy in many Italian homes whether to use a pinch of sugar or not. You know what? Frankly, I say let your palate judge. If the reason you would use it is your tomatoes happen to be pretty tart, pretty acidic, and you want to kind of balance that out, smooth the flavors. If that's the case, do as I did, taste it, add anywhere from a couple teaspoons to a tablespoon or 2 of sugar. I'm going to let this go. This is essentially done. I'm going to let it go for about 10 minutes uncovered, just to reduce it down a little bit, then we'll be good to go. Okay, now once your sauce simmers down to the consistency you want, you are good to go. If you want to dig out those basil stems or any of the basil leaves in there, you absolutely can do it, but this is great to serve. We've got our pomodoro sauce done, so it's time to make our spaghetti pomodoro. I've got boiling water here, obviously salted. I've got my spaghetti. I'm going to drop it in, cook it to a nice al dente. If you made more sauce like I did, just pull off what you need. You can let the rest cool and freeze it later. Okay, so the key to this pasta pomodoro, frankly, almost any pasta, is to cook the pasta to about 30 seconds, maybe a minute before it needs to be taken out, before it's at al dente. And the only way to do that is to taste it. This one is right on. So I'm going to kill the heat. We're going to drain the pasta. My sauce is hot. We'll come back, put it all together. Okay, so here's my pomodoro sauce that I pulled out. What's beautiful, you still got these chunks of tomatoes. You can see the pieces of onion in there. The sauce is lightly cooked, fresh, and delicious. I've got my drained pasta that I'm going to add in there. Now I always also reserve a little extra pasta water, and I can tell this is already going to be a little bit dry. You can use that pasta water to add a little moisture to the pasta at any time. Make sure you cook the pasta, or the spaghetti in this case, along with the sauce. It gives the the pasta a chance to absorb some of that, some of the flavors in the sauce. And I also don't like a ton of sauce in there. I like the sauce to be kind of like a dressing on a salad, right? It's there. It adds a lot of flavor, but the dish is as much about the pasta as it is about the sauce. I'm going to finish this off with just a handful of these little tiny basil leaves. I'm not even going to break them up. They're absolutely fine. Some olive oil. I'm going to kill the heat. And a couple tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. We're just going to mix this in. Seasoning, a little bit of salt and pepper. And we're going to serve this up. Okay, so we've got our pasta pomodoro. You want to give it a couple more tosses. Grab a nice hefty portion and drop it into our bowl. As you do, you want to kind of give it that little twist that helps keep the spaghetti piled nice and high. And maybe just a touch more. And if you like a little heavier sauce, you can certainly scrape kind of sides of the bowl, get it in there, mix it around a little bit. You want to garnish with just a drizzle, more olive oil, and then a little bit of Parmesan cheese. We got this beautiful spaghetti pomodoro. I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required.